So, hi guys. So thank you for joining me today. This is my first talk ever. So I'm very excited to tell you about the things that you should know when working as a solo UX UI designer. So I am Naomi. I'm French Caribbean, so I apologize in advance for the English mistakes that I may do throughout the presentation. I have a background in graphic design and got my master's in UX and in UX and management in Paris. Then I moved in London 2 years ago, right before COVID, and I have almost 3 years of experience as a designer. I worked for e-commerce and wellness apps, but my thing is definitely enterprise software. So that's what I'm doing now at my current job for Bbox, where I am a solo UX UI designer. So what is a solo designer? What does that mean? So as Leah Bully writes in her book, The User Experience Team of One, a solo UX designer or UX team of one is someone who works in a situation where they are the key person driving a user-centered design philosophy in their company or in their team. So that means that even if you work in a company with multiple designers, if on a daily basis you work with only people who are not designers, you are considered a solo designer. Usually, if you're the only designer in the company, it could mean that the design culture or understanding of design is not very developed yet. That is my case. So turning a challenging situation in your favor. Being the only designer in a company that doesn't really have a design culture is a big challenge, but there are ways to turn the situation in your favor. You could really be growing as a designer if you look at it as an opportunity. So here are my tips and best practices to be a successful solo designer. Oops. Oh, sorry, I left my screen. What happened? Okay, sorry. Okay, so getting started. So you just got hired at this company where you're the only designer, and maybe there was another designer before you, maybe you're the first one. So the first things you should do are research on the design culture. You're going to start and do some internal research about the design culture in the company outside of what they told you during the interview phase. You should ask yourself, what is the place of design in this company? Look for what has been done so far in terms of user experience. Was there an effort to connect with the users before you came? Are there any design deliverables, personas, user journey maps, empathy maps? Go through the design files from the previous designer if they have that. Basically, look for anything that would help you understand the users and the product better. If they don't exist, take notes of that, and you will have to create them when necessary. So identify the design process. If a design process is already in place, learn how it integrates in the development of the product. What happens before, during, and after the design process is very important. So ask yourself how design tickets or design requests, if you prefer, come to you. What are other teammates doing while you work on your design? And once the design ticket or request is closed, what becomes of the design? What happens? So Agile is an iterative software development methodology which teams use in projects. Inside of Agile, you also have different methodologies. So you have the Scrum, you have Kanban, you have Scrumban. So be aware of the type of Agile methodology that is used in your team, because it could be more or less of an adjustment depending on the methodology. I work in a Scrum environment, and the design phases can feel rushed sometimes. So what I had to do was sit down with the Scrum Master, the product owners, and figure out a better timeline for the design phase. Making connections. So being a solo UX UI designer doesn't have to mean that you are literally solo all the time, working on your designs and not exchanging with anyone else. If you do that, please stop. Don't do that. You're making things harder for yourself. You should be making connections inside and outside of the workplace. So, inside of the workplace, identify who are the people that you are directly going to interact with on a daily basis. You have the front-end developers, the back-end developers, product managers, product owners, etc. Who are they, and at what point of your process will you need to work with them? That's the questions that you should ask yourself. Identify who can help you understand better the product's ecosystem and see the bigger picture of the product. Identify the manager of the manager, the people you need to be on the good side of, the decision makers. Be strategic about it, because when the time to get a raise will come, they are the ones who will decide. So make sure that they see what you do as well. Who are the people you rarely or never work with? Once you know the key people, don't hesitate to introduce yourself and have a chat with people that you usually don't interact with. Not only you get to talk to other employees in a more lighthearted way, which is refreshing, but you could also learn a lot about different roles that you didn't even know about, or realize that you could be working with them on certain things. Network outside of the workplace. So you can join tech groups, go to tech events, networking events. I think connecting with other tech people helps creating empathy with your actual coworkers and understand different aspects of their job. And very important, connect with other designers. You can join design groups, forums. There's a forum called UX Stack Exchange that I go to sometimes. Go to events, talk to other designers. They could be a team of one. They could be working in a big design team. It doesn't really matter. It's possible that it's people that you can compare experiences with, people who relate to your problematics. So you can ask them questions, confirm some doubts, and get reassurance from them. Get mentors with an S, yes, multiple mentors. To evolve in your career, you should be getting advice from people who have experience on different topics that you want to grow in or learn about. Me personally, I have 3 mentors, or 3 people that I can go to and ask questions. So my original mentor is a senior UX designer. But when I did the mentoring program from Black Girls in Tech this summer, I was matched with a product manager. So I learned more about the managing side, being the only designer that was pretty important to learn about. And there is also, I took a UX strategy course earlier this year, and I stayed in contact with the teacher. That's not the right term, but the person who did the course. And it's someone that I can go to and ask questions as well. So don't limit yourself also to people who look like you. I know at first I was very focused on connecting with Black women, and that's what I did. And my main mentor is a Black woman. But then my other mentors are a Black man and a white man. And I think it's great to learn from people from different backgrounds and different experiences. So don't hesitate to do that. Doing the work. Now that you have a better understanding of your work environment, now that you have networked with a bunch of people, inspiring people inside and outside of the workplace, it's time to get to work. So, researching and testing. Use the documentation that you have found, if you have found any. If not, then once again, you're going to have to do it yourself. If they already have user research and testing methods, you can use that in their database of users. If not, choose the right user research and the right user testing methods for what you're trying to learn from the users. Some platforms can help you find participants for your testing and your research. I know that user testing is a platform that where you can find participants and also conduct testing on. So don't hesitate to go to those platforms and share the findings of your research and your testing with your team and with the stakeholders. Start designing. So work back and forth with the key teammates. So you can be sure to have the right information from the business side and from the technical side. Create design files, so your usual files, wireframes, create your prototypes. Know that you might have to create a design system. That is my case. In my company, there was a designer before, but he didn't really do design systems. So it's something that I have to do now, and I'm going to work with the front-end developers to do that. So yeah, know that you're going to have to create those files. And learn to say no to certain requests. That's very important to value your time and to teach other people to value your time as well. So you can work on the priorities. Share your designs with the team and with stakeholders so you can get feedback from them. You can put design reviews regularly. Ask for constructive feedback and don't hesitate to direct them to give feedback on specific parts of the design, and be ready to justify your design choices and show examples of competitors or other tech companies using the features that you put on your designs or things like that. And also the testing should be also used as a proof to for your design choices, or a justification for your design choices. And make it collaborative. So once again, involve the right teammates at the right time during the entire process, and don't hesitate to invite them to do workshops with you as well. Keep your career in mind. So if you have goals for your career, you know that career choices you make must be well thought of. So when I say keeping your career in mind, I mean do what's best for you, for what you want to achieve, and do what makes you grow as a professional. Never stop learning. So there is tons of content out there to help you evolve in your career. Read books, articles on Medium and in Group. I love Medium, so I recommend that. Podcasts. And if you message me, maybe on LinkedIn or by email, I can recommend some books and some podcasts. So yeah, don't hesitate to do that. At the end, I will give you my LinkedIn and my email. Attend courses. Like me, maybe some of you may benefit from a self-development budget from your company, or you might have to save your own money to attend the course. No matter what, list the courses that you think would be beneficial for your career. Great UX UI courses platforms are IDOU. That's where I did my course last month, Insight for Innovations. And then Group is great, Interaction Design Foundation as well. So what's next? After all of this, do you think being a solo designer is really for you? You should be honest with yourself and analyze your situation. Do you feel like you're growing and becoming a better designer, or do you feel like you perform better and learn more if you have other designers around you? Do you want to build a design team? So ideally, design teams of one, so being a sole designer, should never be the end state in an organization. So you might also be in a situation where you like the company and the product, but you feel like there should be more than one person in the UX UI team. In that case, you need to be strategic once again. By hiring someone who is more junior than you could be the head of design in the company. So that would instantly advance your career. By hiring someone who is the same level or more senior than you could end up being stagnant in the company, but you could also find it easier to bounce off each other and design with each other. So ultimately, you will have to be ready to onboard new designers. So your design documents will need to be ready and organized, and your knowledge of the company will have to be good enough to guide the new designers as they start. In conclusion, being a solo designer in an organization is not the easiest path in terms of UX careers. I admit it. It's even a pretty big challenge, especially earlier in your career. It's going to require you to be okay with failing, learning, and trying again. It will be uncomfortable at times, but the support system that you create around you in and out of the workplace, your long-term vision for your career and for your role, and your ability to turn difficult moments into learning experiences will assure you to be a successful solo UX UI designer. So eventually, when looking for your next role, you'll be able to demonstrate autonomy, ownership, and great collaborative skills. So keep that in mind. Thank you very much. Is there any question? Where did you find your mentors? Where can I find a mentor? So my first mentor, I remember, so when I moved to London, I was kind of lost. So I went to events, I went to Black Women in Tech and events like that. And everyone was talking about finding a mentor. So I went through UX courses and things like that and looked at who are the teachers' names, what are the teachers' names. And I found someone who had the last name that sounded like someone from my island. So I was like, oh, okay, let me message this person. So I found them on LinkedIn. I also went on Google and tried to see if they had any portfolio online or things like that. And I also found YouTube videos of them during a conference. So I messaged them on LinkedIn and asked if they would be open to mentor me. They left me on red and then came back and said yes. We met and we talked about my vision for my early stage of my career, and yeah, she's still my mentor over almost 2 years now. Oh, yeah, almost 2 years. I'm currently a UX UI designer, but would like to specialize in either UX UI or become a product designer. What's the best way to choose? Okay. So to me, I think, so me personally, my goal is to become a product designer. So you have to know what each of these fields are and what you're attracted to in each of them. UX is its own thing. It's you have to so it's more about designing a flow, designing a satisfying product for the user, satisfying experience. UI is more about the visuals, and products is you have to be a UX designer and also know about the business side. So I think knowing exactly what the different fields are and what are the things that you like the most about them would help you make your decision. Yeah. What's the key difference between UX designer and a UX UI designer and a product designer? So like I said, a product designer is someone who is considering the user and the business side. I would say that UX UI designers might be more of the maybe more of the, or seen more as doers. So people who get a ticket, get a request from the product team, for example, it's my case, and they have to do it, but they don't have an input in the decision or the design of the decision on the solution to design. So I think on the product side, because you have this knowledge of the business, you're more legitimate to make decisions for the product. So yeah, to me, that's the main difference. So how did I get to my current position? So I was working for a company when I started. When I came here, I started working for a company. Lost my job because of COVID. Worked in freelance, and I liked freelancing, but I felt disconnected to the product. So I spent 2 months looking for a job, and I was approached on LinkedIn. So always keep your LinkedIn updated. That's very important. I was approached on LinkedIn by the recruiter of my current company, and went through the interview with him, then interview with the software manager, my current manager, and then I had a second interview with another manager, and then yeah, I got the role. Did you do any internships? If so, how did you get one? So yes, so like I said earlier, I did my master's in UX in Paris, and during that year, I had to find an internship or an apprenticeship. So my school organized a careers fair, and you could go and speak with different recruiters from different companies. And yeah, that's where I connected with the manager for the company called SAP. So that's where I was hired as an apprentice, and that was my first experience as a UX designer. Okay, so that was the last question. I hope that was helpful, and I hope you were able to get my my name so you can find me on LinkedIn. And if you have more questions, don't hesitate to connect with me and ask me, and send me an email as well. All right, thank you very much, everyone. Bye.